Hi, I'm Aditya, and today we'll be unboxing the Sphero Mini app-enabled robotic ball. And first look at it, it looks quite like what I just said it is, a ball, and we'll find out what it does. You can play games with it on your phone, you can use it to drive around in your house, and you can also use it for coding. That's right, it's a toy that you can play with as a stress buster, and also an educational part of it is that you can learn how to code with it through another app on your phone. The boxing is quite simple. It tells you on one side what it does, what's the specialities. It has a 10-meter range, so it can respond to your phone as long as you're within 10 meters of the sphere itself. It can drive on its face, so it can drive in any direction you see fit. It has a USB charging port that's much like every other gadget that you see in day-to-day life, like your headphones, your phone. And it has a 45-minute battery life when it's completely charged to up to 1 hour. And it has a bunch of obstacles that come within the packaging, so you can play fun little games like an obstacle course. So let's go ahead and open this and figure out what it can do, and I'll show you how you can play around with this. So let's go ahead and open the box. It's a two-part box. One part has a robot itself, and the other part has all the accessories that come with it. And once you open the flap, you notice that there are instructions that tell you what to do. The first thing is to open the robot itself, that we will do in a little bit. The second thing, it asks us to charge the robot. So once it's blinking blue, it's charging, and once it's a solid green, it's done completely charged. And the other third part is to download the app itself, so you can use the app to play around with the robot. Let's see the contents of this box before we go ahead and use the robot. It comes with an instruction manual that tells you the do's and don'ts of this piece. It comes with the charging cable, as well as a small bunch of obstacles that you can use as an obstacle course to play around with the game that we will portray in a minute. The charging cable is quite like your normal charging cable. It has two ends to it. One end connects into the ball itself, and the other part can be connected to a charging adapter like your phone adapter, your laptop, or even a power bank. Let's go ahead and open this box. It's quite simple. It's lightweight and it fits in your hand easily. It's just a ball for the first viewer's eye. But then what you can do is open it up inside where majority of the smaller parts are. And we see that this is just a shell casing, and this itself is a toy. And here we have the plug point for you to charge it. So let's go ahead and put this into a power bank so we can turn this toy on. And as soon as the power charge starts flowing in, it starts to light up a blue, which, as the box said, is what happens when it's getting charged. And it kind of slightly varies in color. Once it's a solid green, you know it's completely charged and it's safe to pull out. Let's take this out and figure out what we can do with the app that we have. I'm going to close this back in there and put this aside for now. So I already went ahead and downloaded the apps. There are two different apps. One app to play with the robot, one to figure out what you can do with games on your phone, and the other app is the educational part of the program that you can use to code your robot and make it do what you want it to do. So let's go ahead and first play with it for a while, and then we will come to the more educational aspect of it that teenagers who want to go into STEM programs, or even adults who are in computer sciences and other robotics programs, can figure out and play around with. So it's for all ages, if you ask me. So let's go ahead and figure out how we can just play around with it. The app, as Sphero, has made more than just this model. It gives you an option to choose what your exact robot is. So they have the Mini, the Spark Plus, the Bolt. So I'm just gonna go ahead and check Mini. And once my Bluetooth is enabled, as you've seen, it lights up and it starts to connect with my phone. And once it's connected, it's good to go. The first things first, you want to aim, so you need to configure the device to make sure that its direction is the direction you want it to be. So it asks you to move around this white dot until there's a light facing yourself. And once you do that, there are different modes to it. A joystick mode that you can use to just play around with. There we go. And there are other driving modes to it, so it can drive at 1 meter per hour, so it can go pretty fast if you ask me. And then we have other ways of driving it. You have slingshot, so you just like pull back and release and it just launches itself out. And you have the tilt, you have golf. You can play golf with this and it tells you your speed, it tells you your distance. That's a lot that one small ball can do. Besides the drive modes, you also have the gaming mode where you can use your ball as a joystick. So let's go ahead and play a small game real quick. It gives you instructions of how you can maneuver the ball itself on the top left of your screen. So if I tilted my ball left and right, it starts to move my spaceship. And if I tilted it up and down, it brings the spaceships back. So this is something you can use to just like as a stress buster, because we're all bored at some point of the day. Besides this, a special really cool feature of this toy robot is that it continually updates itself. So the app undergoes updates and so the robot also undergoes updates. So after a while a bunch of new games can be unlocked and you can do a lot more with your robotic ball than you used to in the past. So let's go ahead and figure out what its educational features are. It's a separate app called Sphero Edu that is on the Google Play Store or iStore. So let me just go ahead and open that app. And the first thing it asks you to do is connect your robot. So you want to go ahead and connect your robot. You might have many different robots other than this that are in your possession. So you have a list to choose from. And once it's connected, it'll start blinking. So you can go ahead and figure out what you want. So we can create a new program. It's pretty easy because it's through an app, so it's not very difficult, and it has a really good user interface. So it tells you what you can do. You have movements, you have lights, you have sounds, controls, operators, comparators that you can use to modify what you want your ball to do. So you can decide what direction it flows in or what colors it lights up when, at what speed. And this is something that's really catchy for children who want to go into STEM fields, who want to code in the future, who want to have an interest in going into the tech industry. Or if your child is just interested in robotics in general, this is really cool because they can not only play with this robot as a toy, they can also use it to customize it the way they want to, and can have a different kind of like an educational routine with it as well. And you don't see a lot of toys today that serve both purposes, as opposed to like this that you can play with as well as learn something from it. Because this is not only a toy that they can play with and have fun with, but this is something that they can learn with, because this educational aspect of the toy is quite astounding, because your child can do so much more than just play around with this ball. He can code it, customize it to do what he wants it to do, and that kind of gives your child inspiration to go places that he wants to go. So not only does this ball have these two purposes, it is also constantly being updated. So this is like the perfect Christmas present. So in conclusion, this Sphero Mini app-enabled robotic ball is a toy that teaches. Not only can your kid have fun and games by playing around with what it can do and roll on the floor and whatnot, play golf with it, they can also learn from it, to code it, to customize it, to make it obey their commands. Because what's better than a toy that can teach? I honestly don't think there is anything. Because when I used to play games, we didn't have a lot of these options, so I didn't really learn a lot from my toys, and most of it was left to my imagination. But with toys such as this, you can learn from them, and they learn from you, as this is constantly updating every now and then. So honestly, a toy that can teach me something? Absolutely, I would totally go for it.